Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube. It's been a minute actually since I did a live. So, hi guys, I'm used to welcome back to my YouTube channel. I haven't done lives on YouTube and TikTok and X for a while. So, you guys gonna have to bear with me. It's been a minute. We're gonna be talking about New Jersey. We're going to be talking about Andy Cohen. We're going to be talking about John Mayer. So everything in this video is, of course, going to be alleged. Sorry, getting into my account here. There's make sure you guys comment. Let me know where you guys are watching from. There's a lot going on the internet today, guys. By the way, if you didn't notice, if you haven't been online, there's been a lot going on. A lot of rumors about Andy Cohen and a lot of TikToks and content creators coming out with rumors about him and John Mayer. We're going to talk about that. And give me 2 seconds, guys. Let me just get my camera right here. 1 second. Having a little bit of technical difficulties today, but that's normal. I swear, guys, I got to get my stuff set up to a point where, like, I just am always doing so much one time, and I can't leave my stuff set up in one place because of my baby, and it just ends up being a little bit more. It'd be nice if I could just have everything set up and just hop on and I wouldn't have to worry about it, but it just never seems to work out that way for me. So I'm always struggling with my light or my audio. Okay, there it is. All right. If you guys have any comments, make sure that you put them in the comments. Let me know if you guys have any questions. If there's anything online today that you specifically want to discuss, that today would be a great time to put it in the comments. Yesterday on my podcast, Housewives 411, I dropped a story about Chris Harrison from The Bachelor, who is now producing for iHeart, and he's also a producer on some of your favorite Housewives podcasts. Yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about that too. Hi, Elizabeth. How are you guys? Do you guys want to start with Andy Cohen and John Mayer? Because everyone seems really into this, and I hate to break it to you guys, but I know there's a whole timeline of events that we've seen John Mayer be present for Andy Cohen, including when Andy got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He was at Ben's baby shower, Andy Cohen's first son. If you remember the ultimate baby shower at Craig's in West Hollywood, where the Beverly Hills women were dancing on the tables, if you remember that. Okay. And so allegedly, they had a house in the Hamptons together. We've seen a photo of John Mayer at Andy's in the Hamptons, and Andy's mom is like steaming John's shirt for him. Some of the photos of John and Andy together seem a little comfortable, right? And obviously we don't want to speculate on anyone's sexuality. We don't want to make accusations like that. But even Andy Cohen says he understands why people speculate, right? And so Howard Stern interviewed, this is a very important interview because he's basically clearing it up for us. He's swearing on his kid's life. Howard Stern asked the hard questions because he's interviewing Andy on his book tour, and Andy Cohen basically mentioned John Mayer more than anyone else in his book. So I want you guys to hear this clip. 1 second. I want you guys to hear him say, Howard Stern literally says, swear on your kids that you haven't had a sexual relationship with John Mayer. And he does. And he says that they never happened. So
I'm surprised by the amount she listens. And she often will say to me that she is so surprised.
Hold on, guys. Let me back check here. All right, ready?
John Mayer. I am in love with John Mayer. We are in love with each other. But you guys even go on like camping trips together into swear in your children's lives there's never been anything sexual between you and John Mayer. Yes, I do. I swear. You swear? Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Is there a chance you will lose people?
Let me pause that for a second. So again, this is Howard Stern. This is June. This is after Andy Cohen writes his Daddy Diaries. John Mayer is the most mentioned person in the entire book. He's doing his rounds. He goes on Howard Stern. Howard Stern says, Like, there's nothing sexual between you guys? Like, are you serious? And Andy Cohen said, I am in love with John Mayer. Did you guys hear that part? I'm going to play it for you guys again.
I think next to me, the most mentions in your book are about John Mayer. I am in love with John Mayer. We are in love with each other. But you guys even go on like camping trips together into the. Right. I mean, swear in your children's lives there's never been anything sexual between you and John Mayer. Yes, I do. I swear. You swear? Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Is there a chance you will lose people?
Okay, so there's that, right? Now, this was just in June. But before that, the rumors, the sightings of John and Andy Cohen are all over the place, all over New York City. Again, even possibly purchasing a house in the Hamptons. I also think it's very funny because Bethany Frankel likes to act like she's very good friends with John Mayer as well. And recently when she did her woman's lunch, she did like this little interview with everything she was wearing. And she referenced a green gold face Rolex and said, thank you, John Mayer. CNN even reported on John Mayer and Andy Cohen way back in June of 2023. So we didn't realize maybe what a stink John Mayer was, like how much he was in Andy's book, because no one was really telling us that. They were just giving us all the tea on the housewives. So CNN actually did a report. They show a photo. I'm sorry, guys, on YouTube, I can't show you guys photos. I have to keep everything my original content, or I would show you. You guys can look it up online. It's on the CNN website, www.cnn.com. Andy Cohen and his bestie John Mayer are super close, but not like some people want to believe. During an appearance on Sirius XM, the Howard Stern, we go through that whole thing. But did you guys know that John Mayer saying happy birthday to Andy Cohen surprised him on Watch What Happens Live? Yeah, he did. He surprised them on Watch What Happens Live. And there's even like accusations living together. There was a blind item that was posted. This is why this is all kind of circulating today, because a blind item from Crazy Days and Nights. My computer just died at 14%. Really? Maybe I accidentally hit the power off button. Is that possible? Oh, I'm going to be so pissed if I have to do this without my computer. I'm sorry, guys. Yep, it's my battery. 14% though on a laptop. Anyways, so John Mayer, we have that. Lots of pictures. You guys can look those up online, and lots of creators on TikTok saying that they're dating. But I'm just here to tell you guys, maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I'm not going to say one way or the other, but it does look like their pictures, they're really comfortable together. Like they're like hugging and kissing on each other, right? And he was like the only guy at the baby shower, the very first baby shower. A couple of other things I want to talk about today, guys. We can talk about Chris Harrison in a little bit. I don't know if you guys listen to my podcast or not. I'm kind of getting back into the groove on my YouTube because I was on TikTok, yada, yada, yada. I really want to talk about that, guys. Chris Harrison was a host to ABC's The Bachelor for 20 years until he took part in a problematic and some would say racist interview to it, which he had to step down after 20 years on The Bachelor. And he waited about 18 months before he got his feet wet and made his way over to iHeartRadio, where he's producing some of your favorite housewives podcasts, and you don't even know it. So I would encourage you guys, go listen to my podcast. I'm going to try to post some of that interview where I can. It won't be on YouTube, though. If you want the interview, I can send you a link to it directly. Did you guys also hear, allegedly, Croy, Real Housewives of Atlanta, Kim and Croy are making headlines again because allegedly an attorney is coming after Croy, suing him for $800 in unpaid legal fees. Yes, $800 in legal fees. You know, it's one thing to like live a little bit above your means, but like I can't fathom living in a mansion like that and owing my attorney $800 and not having it to give him and having him having to sue me for it. That's crazy. That's almost as embarrassing as Joe getting sued for his legal fees for like $3,000. I'm just saying, to me, it feels that way. Embarrassing. really embarrassing. And Kim was just running around. They're having anniversary dinners. They're on TMZ. The next day, they're getting the cops called on them. Sorry, guys, low battery. The next day, the neighbors are taking. Did you see the clip that the neighbor said that they're screaming and yelling coming from the house 24/7? Like they're filming it because you can hear it from way outside. Craziness, guys. Craziness. Do you think that Kim and Croy are actually back together? Is any of this for publicity? Like, why don't they have any money? Right? Like, is there nothing else that Croy could do towards an income with his NFL experience? I mean, I'd be like doing I don't know. I'd be doing something. Okay. I wouldn't be sitting around getting 911 called on me and getting sued by my attorney. That's insane. And Kim's not much better just because you're going online and selling she's not even selling stuff that's worth its value. She's selling stuff. She's basically allegedly lying about. She'll put a purse on that's Chanel and say it's gently used or never worn, and then a content creator will pull up from a month ago where she wore it. It's all a facade. It's all a lie. It's all Cash App me or Venmo me $3,000 for this Louis Vuitton bag. Like, hell no, don't Venmo that woman, don't Cash App that woman for that sort of thing. What do you guys think is going to happen with Kim and Croy? Comment, let me know. I want to talk about Kathy Hilton's Christmas party. I did a TikTok on this, and I'm getting, girl, guys, TikTok can be a rough. Whoo! You gotta put on a bulletproof vest to go to TikTok. I swear to God, you do. Kathy Hilton threw a huge Christmas party. Her sisters were both in attendance, and there were some Bravo celebrities at the party. Part of those Bravo celebrities were Teresa and Louis. Okay. Now, there were two different places in Kathy's house where it seemed that most of the photos were being taken. One was in her foyer with the Christmas tree and like the Tiffany blue background. And then there was another Christmas tree where people were taking photos. And that's where Teresa and Louis had photos taken. And I posted those and people were saying, oh, that's not true. They weren't at Kathy Hilton's party. Yada, yada, yada. Yes, they were at Kathy Hilton's party. I went ahead and got confirmation because Bravo actually did an entire article on Kathy Hilton's Christmas party and what Bravo housewives were there and what weren't. There weren't very many on the list, mostly just Beverly Hills ladies in attendance to her Christmas party. Paris in Love is coming out with its second season, so I think they might be doing a little bit of press for that, as well as Paris Hilton has announced that she is going for baby number 2. They're having a little girl, and I think that she's naming her London. So that's crazy. She's also faulting sexual abuse. I can't even say that. I'm so sorry. SA from the School for Troubled Teens where she went as to why she's using surrogacy. I don't know how I feel about that because she used surrogacy the first time, so I didn't expect her not to use surrogacy the second time, right? That's just my opinion. But if she did experience something like that, that's terrible. And that's not an uncommon thing that happens in these troubled schools for teens. And that's why I think she's trying so hard to advocate for it. And I think that, we have to give her credit for that because that's surely more than we're seeing a lot of other ladies her age doing with their platform. We don't really see much advocacy come from Kyle's daughters, Kim's daughters. They're relatively quiet. But we do see some advocacy work come from Paris. And Paris sort of like broke through for that family. I tell you guys often, it's gone from the internet. And I actually went and found it on Reddit because it did exist. And it was a clip. It was about a half an hour long of Kathy and Kim and Kyle in Kathy's house. They were going to feed the homeless people in Beverly Hills. And if you've ever read The House of Horrors, you'll know that the Hiltons were actually happy when Paris started making headlines. They didn't care that it was bad press. Now, if you hear Kathy tell the story, she'll say they moved from LA to New York because Paris's partying was so out of hand, but it actually got worse in New York. But they were happy to be making headlines. They were happy to be in the press. They were happy that the paparazzi was sitting at the corner of their road. In one scene, we see Kyle drive by with Kim in the car, and she's like, look, there's the paparazzi. We see an interview of Kyle the night that the Paris and Nikki had a huge party at Paris Hilton's house they basically created reality TV with The Simple Life, and Kyle's interviewed as Paris's aunt there as well. So for a long time, Kyle was Paris's aunt. That's how we knew her. Okay. Just saying. I also wanted to let you guys know, I'm just gonna say that let's ask for some prayers for Brandy Glanville. I don't think y'all realize how bad she might be doing. And maybe it's not, I don't know how bad it really is, but I do know that on her Twitter, she was like rushed to the hospital. 911 was called. And I think she's having some serious health issues. She seems to be alluding to stress. Um, we haven't seen photo. We haven't seen her podcast. We haven't seen anything really, except for a couple of tweets here and there. So I'm gonna say I think that the woman could use some positive thoughts and prayers. And Brandy's never been one of my favorite housewives, but I definitely feel like Bravo has not done done right by her in most circumstances. And we're just thinking of her. So if you guys pray for people, pray for Brandy. Are you guys commenting? I'm just not getting the comments because I'm not seeing any comments. Do you guys want to talk about Chris Harrison and the Vanity, or Chris Harrison and him coming on iHeart and being producer to some of your favorite podcasters that are housewives from New Jersey and Orange County? Anyone? No comment? Nobody? Okay, well, a long time ago, there was a show called The Bachelor. And back in the day, when you liked your shows, they didn't have streaming services. You had to watch your show on the night that it was scheduled. The Bachelor was a competitive show. It was on for 20 years. And it was really the first time we'd ever seen a show like this. So, it was a big show. Hi, Barbara. Oh, I'm so sorry that you're not feeling well. Thank you for commenting, though. So I know that you guys are listening. I hope you get some rest. I'm sorry, Barbara. Get some rest, sissy. Just listen. Okay. Chris Harrison, ABC host for The Bachelor, 20 years. Okay. Do you guys, any of this sound familiar? I'm not sure my genre today, but there was a woman named Rebecca Lindsay, and she was actually the first African-American bachelorette. Okay. And she went on to do, stay in the field, and she ended up working for Entertainment Tonight. I think it was Entertainment something. Meanwhile, The Bachelorette's taking place, and now we have our first African American bachelor. And we have all of these women who are fighting for his love and affection. And one of them, her name is spelled, it sounds like Raquel, it looks like Rachel. So in all the articles, and anytime she's really referenced, they reference this girl by her last name, which is Kirkconnell. It's like Kirkconnell. You can find this interview on YouTube, and you can find it on EW.com. It's going to be Chris Harrison's interview with Rebecca Lindsay. And they're going to be discussing a contestant by the last name of Kirkconnell, who pictures surfaced of her taking part in a antebellum plantation party 5 years prior with her sorority sisters. Upon that were accusations of her liking tweets and Instagram posts with Confederate flags, and just, you guys are picking up what I'm putting down, right? 6 weeks goes by from the time that this stuff surfaces before Chris Harrison does this interview with Rebecca Lindsay. The interview is disappointing because anytime I've ever seen Chris Harrison on, The Bachelor, I think that he seemed like a great host. He seemed fair. I think we enjoyed him as a host, right? But this interview shows a very, very, very different side to him. Obviously, out of the situation, out of the two people talking, you have someone of color and a privileged man, and he really overpowers her. He doesn't really give her a chance to talk. Obviously, she's the one who's going to have a little bit of knowledge and experience about about this subject, more so than he would. And he doesn't care. He overpowers her in the situation. He says a lot of things like, well, if it was okay in 2018, but it's not okay now, what do you think, Rebecca? Like, just very, I want to say, kind of condescending. The word chauvinistic definitely comes to mind. And a lot of people felt like it was the R word. A lot of people. So many people. It was a 13-minute interview. So many people felt that way. The ABC was like, we're done with you. We're going to give you $9 million. Walk away. Walk away. Or it's. So that's what he did. He stepped down and he walked away. He took $9 million. He waited 18 months. And in December of 2022, right around Christmas time, when people aren't really probably paying too much attention to the press, iHeartRadio took Chris Harrison on, allegedly. And he started his own podcast. The name is so generic. I wish I had I don't know why I don't have anything in front of me. Oh, here we go. Do you guys want to know the name of his podcast? The Most Dramatic Podcast Ever with Chris Harrison. So that's what he starts 18 months after he dips from The Bachelor for his R word. Now, if you go to his website, this is what else makes me raise an eyebrow about him. If you're looking for Christmas gifts for anyone in the family, they have something for everyone at chrisharrison.com, okay? Also, you guys know me. I'm bad with names. I'm just bad with names, guys. I'm good with faces, all that other stuff. I'm bad with names. So I think I said like Chris Harris, Chris Harrison, Chris Harrison, Harrison. Like, you guys know who I'm talking about, okay? Chris H. Anyways, you can find anything you want on this website. T-shirts. He wrote 2 books when he was living off the $9 million after he walked away from The Bachelor. Yeah, you can purchase time with him, like a cameo. You can purchase a like business convention for $6,500 with Chris. And now he is part of iHeart. He married a woman who did not take his last name, who made this statement after they got married that said, this is a new slate. Like, we're taking over the podcast world. She's into Housewives. He's into Housewives. He interviewed Meredith Marks. I don't think any of us even knew that. I didn't know that. If you guys knew that, put that in the comments. I didn't know that Chris Harrison was on iHeart with this, the most dramatic podcast ever that ain't nobody even heard of on iHeart. And I'd always heard Teddy Mellencamp reference Chris Harrison, but I never thought in a million years it was this Chris Harrison. If you've ever listened to the 2 T's in a Pod podcast, which I'm talking about, especially earlier, that's when I used to listen now. Back then, when they had guests on, and it was like during the season, and it was, you know, sometimes they would have some good episodes here and there when they had Teresa on. Teddy would talk about Chris Harrison. I heard her say that more than one time, right? It's the same Chris Harrison. So then I've been working on this for like 2 weeks. So I have a screenshot of Chris Harrison's name as producer on the 2 T's in a Pod podcast on iHeart. So fast forward, I didn't know that the 2 J's in Jersey, which is Jackie Goldschneider and Jen Fessler's podcast that's new, that just came out. I didn't realize they were dropping episodes yesterday. So they basically came out with their podcast yesterday. And so I wanted to let you guys know that Chris Harrison is also a producer on their podcast. And I'm just surprised because I thought that like Jackie Goldschneider, especially Jackie Goldschneider, were as like morally, you know, how high of a moral compass she like holds a lot of people to. It's disappointing to think that she would be so quick to just work with someone so controversial, when in fact we know that Bravo gets accused of being not diverse. We know that, first of all, the producers are Teddy and Tamra. Okay, that's like the 2 first producers, and then is Chris Harrison. It's like white on 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 white. It's like you're not even like something. I like you, Jackie. I think you're killing it. You look gorgeous. I think you took probably my advice on getting like a stylist or a hairdresser, and you're getting it all the way together. You look amazing. You can tell that you look and feel amazing. The sheer outfit she wore for Jennifer's Christmas party, killing it. She looks great. She looks good and she looks happy and she looks like she's on the right team. But Jackie can sometimes be emotional. Jackie can act with her emotions. I think that sometimes Jackie can hold people to too high expectation. I think that she can thinks that things can be too black and white, right? And that's all fine and dandy, but how are you going to be Team Teresa when you got Tamara and Teddy as your producers? Then you got Chris Harrison as your other producer, and then you got Jen Fessler as your co-host. Jen Fessler, who's done nothing but confess her undying love to Margaret. All she did last season was confess her undying love and loyalty to Margaret Josephs. Even on Watch What Happens Live. Nobody wants to watch that. And now that she realized that nobody wants to watch that, she's changing up her story. But I certainly don't want to watch you now because now what do we believe? All you did was confess your undying love and loyalty for Margaret for an entire season. And this is who Jackie's going to go on a podcast with? But I'm telling you, he's embarking on the housewives community, and he's doing it slowly, and he's doing it so that nobody notices. There's a reason, allegedly, that his wife didn't take his last name. She's into production. She's into housewives. I told you guys, I've been working on this for 2 weeks. She's into housewives. She follows. She's in the network, in the know-how. And what I'm thinking is that Chris is coming for Andy Cohen. He's coming for Andy Cohen's job. And Andy doesn't even realize it. You heard it here first. That's right. You heard it here first. He hosted The Bachelor. Why wouldn't he go to a competitor? He was on ABC. Now he go to NBC. People are complaining about Bravo. He's going to get his foot in the door with podcasts. He's going to start making connections and friends in the podcast world with housewives along with his wife. They're going to double team you like Mauricio and Kyle did. You want to know how Mauricio and Kyle doubled their net worth every single year for 13 years, including during a pandemic? Teamwork makes the dream work. Work smarter, not harder. I'm telling you, that man is coming for Andy Cohen's job. Deb says, I don't like the podcast situation, period. It will be a train wreck. I don't like it either. I don't like that we have a network like Bravo, who we already have so many standing accusations against when it comes to racism and diversity, and even like the Real Housewives of Potomac, with Candace's accusations, like the darker your skin, the worse you're treated almost. And I think that it is very putting it right in our face, to put Chris Harrison as a producer with again, no diversity in the production, no diversity in the podcast. Now you've got Cynthia Bailey, she chimes in, she'll cover for Tamara. She used to do Tamara whenever they would do the OC reviews. But I'm just saying, like, Chris Harrison is making money moves with his wife. That's exactly what they're doing. Andy Cohen, you're welcome. He probably already knows it. But I don't think so, because I'm going to tell you why. Because Chris hasn't made enough moves yet. He's only started December 2022. It's only been a year. Okay. It's going to take a little bit of legwork. It's going to take a little bit of the know-how and getting the connections, and the Bravo community. Its downfall is, of course, we take new people in. We love, we're friendly people. We're, the community, even, it doesn't matter if you're a Teresa, Melissa fan, like, obviously there's something about Bravo and the Housewives that you like. So we all have that in common. And when we see that in other people, we just have a tendency to be welcoming and bring them in. And Chris Harrison is probably started at the bottom of the totem pole, just like Tamara had to when she wanted to get back on OC. She was like, all right, I'm going to have to be friends with Teddy. Here we go. So he's going to start Teddy, Tamara, right? That's where he started. But the OC is not really doing much, right? Tamara didn't really have a great season. Teddy's never coming back. Teddy was like, who gave her a microphone? Oh, my God. I mean, so now he's embarking on New Jersey, because New Jersey is what? Very popular, very big franchise when it comes to Bravo. It just makes me also raise my eyebrow to iHeart, because it feels like why was it like Teresa was sure their podcast was originally on iHeart, and we just didn't see the same kind of treatment. We didn't see the same kind of guests. Like we that's another thing about Teddy and Tamara's podcast. They were getting lots of guests, like good guests. And it was iHeart that was booking them, and they even said that. iHeart books our guests. We don't have any control over it. But again, Teddy mentioning Chris Harrison a lot as they work pretty hand in hand in hand. And again, guys, I think that it's important to understand that the way he talked to this young woman, Rachel Lindsay, it was very like, he said that the Annabella parties were popular in 2018 and that 50 million people went to parties, Annabella parties on plantations like that. And Rebecca, she killed it. I mean, she let him bury himself, and she looked at him and said, okay, but if I went to that party, what would I represent there? How would I be represented at a party like that? And Chris kind of goes off about, do we tear down the George Washington monuments for what it's, just sort of off on a tangent in politics and stuff that had nothing to do with the actual situation at hand. And again, not the first time that The Bachelor had been accused of some sort of like racist behavior, right? And again, not the first time they've ever been accused of not having any sort of diversity. I mean, this was like a couple of years ago, but we're talking the first African-American bachelorette, the first African-American bachelor. And this was like, I don't know, how long ago? 3 years ago? That's not that long ago. Like, we got to catch up a little bit, in my opinion. Here's the quote from his wife. I think she's the brains of the operation because she's already in the world and she has she's the squeaky clean one. He messed up over there, but in time, they hope that kind of, just gets swept under the rug. And also the fact that, he knows how to work the press. When he went to iHeart and started his podcast, he did it in December around Christmas time. And there are tons of articles that don't have a lot of any real information in them, except just basically talking about Chris making his way into the podcast world. That way they can say they told us so. And then there was all these articles, yada, yada, yada. His wife says, again, she did not take his last name, this is the first of a new slate of shows that Harrison will executive produce with his fiance, Lauren Zima. And their next chapter is production for iHeart. So that's what I think is happening. I think he's coming for Andy Cohen. I do. And also, I wanted to talk about Alexis Bellino. I did a video on this. I'm so pissed. I had to delete it because it was late at night and I was tired, and I accidentally said Gretchen instead of Alexis. And I said that Jeff Lewis is messy, messy, messy. Him and all the OC people had Thanksgiving together, except for Heather McDonald. Kelly Dodd and all of them. Kelly ends up going on Jeff Lewis's podcast, and they make sure to tell us that somehow, some way, Alexis Bellino and John, it's John James or whatever his name is, Shannon's boyfriend, were at the Quiet Woman on Thanksgiving together. Now, they don't say they were there together. They say that Alexis was there with her friends that are a gay couple. And there was a picture of them posted, her with her friends. But there was also a posted picture of her and Shannon's ex with his arm around her. Nowhere on the internet. I couldn't find it. I've been following Alexis kind of closely because I was wondering if they're going to, bring her back to the OC at all. And I don't know who posted it or who shared it, but Jeff Lewis, they used it as their thumbnail. It's a photo of Alexis and Shannon's ex-boyfriend, John. There you have it. They were spending basically Thanksgiving at the Quiet Woman together, and Shannon was probably at home with the kids. Sue me. And then I wanted to tell you about Danielle Cabal. Did I tell you guys that she went on Up and Adam? I did a video about, because my source came through, told me all the deets about her glam squad and the $30 room hotel that they were staying in with the hour-long commute and yada, yada, yada. And what I said in the video that was very important that some people missed was that it was not her glam squad that was complaining. It was the other ladies, experienced and professional glam people, because the glam people have to hang together, right? Like when their people are out doing panels, the glam squad's together behind the scenes. Like even if they're not front, like, you know what I'm saying? There's a glam area and people's glam are there. So you're going to run in and talk to other people's glam people. And so what I'm assuming after seeing Danielle's hairstylist is her people are young. And they probably don't have a whole lot of, experience, just like Danielle doesn't. I'm not being mean. She said it herself. She doesn't have a whole lot of experience. And so I think what happened was when they were in Vegas and the other ladies' glam saw how Danielle's glam was being treated and where they were staying and their commute, they were the ones that were outraged. They were the ones that came out and spoke up. And they were the ones that, kind of chatted with some of the husbands and, should we upgrade them? Should we try to find them somewhere else to stay? What should we do? So when the hairdresser went on Up and Adam, she had no issues with where she stayed. She was thankful that they got 2 rooms, which is strange. But because the comment my source said to me was the girls would have been happier if they would have gotten to stay in one room. They could have at least been scared together and maybe stayed in a nicer room, right? Regardless, Danielle says that she's new to all of this and that after BravoCon, she didn't make $1. She didn't make any money after BravoCon. And Up and Adam was quick to kind of say, well, Danielle, BravoCon isn't usually for Bravo celebrities. It's more for Bravo fans. And that's sort of, even though they're paying thousands of dollars to go, it's still more about them than you. So anyways, I just wanted to let you guys know that because on my TikTok, I had covered the story. And now people are like, oh my God, that's not true. I'm like, okay, she just came out and did this. Like, I got it. I'll cover it. I got you guys. No worries. I didn't expect her to come out and say it's true. Did you? Did we expect her to come out and say, oh, yeah, it's true? No. And then she was online buying that Louis Vuitton bag and posting it like 100 times about going into the store and buying the Louis bag and coming out with the Louis Vuitton bag and carrying not even the actual Louis Vuitton bag, the bag that had the bag in it. Like they had the paper Louis Vuitton bag that they were carrying around the mall and the escalator and in the car and at home. Anyway, guys, make sure that you check out my podcast, Housewives 411. If you're listening on a YouTube channel, hit the follow button and hit the like button, please. I would greatly appreciate it. Trying to grow my podcast over here, guys. Trying to keep you guys in some free content. Trying to keep up with my YouTube. Make sure you guys go follow me on TikTok, HW Historian with the number 2. A lot of good content over there. And then I just hope you guys have a great day.